Welcome to this short video explaining what is NCLDR. NCLDR is an open source port of the CLDR for .NET, which rather begs the question, what is CLDR? CLDR is the Common Locale Data Repository. It's a database of culture information or locale information depending upon your terminology. It was created by the Unicode Consortium around about 2002, and it's used by a fairly large percentage of the industry, the non-Microsoft part of the industry. So to pick out a few names here, the list includes Amazon, Apple, Google, IBM, Oracle, and CLDR gets used in products like OS X, iOS, Safari, Chrome, Android, Google+, DB2. In all likelihood, you've already used CLDR without actually knowing it. The CLDR provides the same kind of functionality that's already available in the .NET framework. If we look at the system.globalization namespace in the .NET framework, it has a fairly significant cultural database in there, which is exposed through classes like the culture info and region info classes. And that's the same kind of thing that the CLDR is offering. And we express this with a classic Venn diagram, two overlapping circles illustrating the functionality of the .NET framework and CLDR. However, the diagram that we're looking at the moment is not to scale. If we draw this to scale, you can see that the CLDR encompasses the majority of the functionality which is already available in the .NET framework, and then adds a significant amount more data and more functionality than we have in the .NET framework. If I put some numbers on this, we can see that the .NET framework running on Windows 8, .NET Framework 4.5, has 156 neutral cultures. That would be cultures which only have a language, so English, French, German, Japanese. And it has 222 specific cultures. Those would be cultures which are a language in a country or region, so English in the US, French in France, Japanese in Japan. That gives us a total of 378 cultures in the .NET framework. If we compare this with the CLDR has 216 neutral cultures, 440 specific cultures, and 656 cultures in total. That's significantly more than the .NET framework. So one of the benefits that NCLDR provides is that it exposes the CLDR data to the .NET framework, adding significant number of new cultures to the .NET framework. In addition to that, CLDR has data for which there is no corresponding data in the .NET framework. So it adds data for cultures and regions, including things like postal code regular expressions, telephone codes, pluralization rules, for which the pluralization rules in English are incredibly simplistic. But if we look at languages like Polish and Hungarian, Russian and Arabic, then the pluralization rules are significantly more complex, and the current support in the .NET framework is fairly minimal for those kinds of issues. And ordinal rules, so issues like first, second, third, not just the translation of the ST and the ND and the RD, but the rules which apply, which say what numbers have repeating groups of extensions. Spelling out numbers, so the number 1966, for example, would be spelled out as 1956 if it was a year, but if it was simply an integer, it may be 1966 or 1966, and the spelling out rules show how to spell out different numbers in different contexts in different languages. And it goes on and on. Please don't feel that the additional data in CLDR is limited to the list that you can see on the screen here. This is simply the tip of the iceberg. So what NCLDR does is it exposes all of the CLDR data to .NET applications. Largely speaking, there are two strategies for using NCLDR. The first is to use it simply to create new custom cultures for the .NET framework. Those custom cultures are first-class citizens and get added not only to the .NET framework but also to the Windows operating system. At that point, having created the custom cultures, you can dispense with NCLDR and use the cultures as part of the .NET framework in the same way that you use any other culture. Alternatively, or additionally, you can use NCLDR to add the CLDR data for which there is no corresponding data in the .NET framework to your .NET applications. So for example, if you want a database of postal code regular expressions, then you can use NCLDR to provide that data. So that concludes this video explaining what is NCLDR. There are a few other videos that you might like to look out for. The next in the sequence here is how to get started using NCLDR. After that, we explain how to create custom cultures with NCLDR, and then we move on to using the NCLDR extension methods. So NCLDR provides culture info and region info extension methods which expose additional data available in CLDR. Then we move on to customizing the NCLDR data file. The NCLDR data file includes all of the data which is available in CLDR. You may not want to include everything that's there. That's 656 different cultures. Maybe you're only interested in 10 cultures, or maybe you're only interested in the postal code regular expressions. You can splice and dice the NCLDR data file so that it includes only the data that you're interested in, and you get a much smaller data file. The next video explains the data which you can now get in NCLDR and walks through everything that you can see there, detailing why that would be useful. And finally, there's a video which explains how to use NCLDR cultures in JavaScript. Hope you found this useful and you watched some other videos in this series. Thank you.